I'm a local to Bay City, Essexville. I went to Garber High School and graduated 2001, and I started at Saginaw Valley, studying music education, and went through the whole program there. And it was during recession time where, at the time, my fiance and I were looking for where do we want to plant our feet first off, and we ended up moving to Iowa of all places. So we did a little bit of a Midwest tour, and while I was there, I was trying to determine whether or not I wanted to continue being, an education, music educator. My wife was teaching, and what it ended up leading me to was, at the time, I didn't need to be, and I ended up finding that, band instrument repair was something that I could do, and we both could, work and coexist in the same area. So I went to a trade program there called Western Iowa Tech Community College. They're out in Sioux City, Iowa, and they have a 2-year associates program. I had already had the bachelor's, down, so I basically just had to do the hands-on training component, and it was wonderful. Our professor there, Mark Schmettinghoff, just really down to earth. He was an educator too, in Texas, and so we really gelled. I was obviously like a non-traditional student. I was in my late 20s at the time, and I think that helped me quite a bit when I did set my feet and get started working in band instrument repair. Was um, the background that I'd had and playing different instruments, being a doubler. I'm a saxophonist by trade, but flute, clarinet, all of those things, and the music education component, so that it helped me with my role as a technician. I already kind of spoke the language, with beginners or with other players, and so um, did that right out of school. Was able to we were able to get I was able to get a job in Green Bay, so we moved to Green Bay, worked there for 2 years until we were able to get back home to Michigan, and here's where we are. So it's interesting, like in our area, we're generalists. We do anything that comes in the door, essentially, brass, woodwind. And so any day of the week, it could be a simple clarinet repair, it could be an outstanding overhaul type scenario. And so oftentimes we're able to get things turned around within a week. We have a lot of schools that we cover in our service area, that we have representatives that go out to the schools themselves, pick up and drop off. And so we have to meet that schedule of make sure that they have all the things when they meet them again the following week. And then we fit everything in around that. We have a deadline, weekly deadlines that we have for our school services reps. And then we fit in all of our walk-ins and other traffic within that. Longer repairs, we're able to get those in usually a couple weeks. The heaviest times of year obviously are the summer and fall times, when folks, if they haven't scheduled to bring something in earlier before they needed it, then we can get backed up a little bit. But usually we're able to seasonally draw on some help and get things done so that people have it back in their hands. So yeah, in the United States, there are three primary certifications that people will use. So there's Western Iowa Tech Community College, which is in Sioux City, Iowa. There's Red Wing. They're in Red Wing, Minnesota. They're a 1-year program, 9-month program. And then there is, um, pardon me, in Washington State, Renton, there's a community college out there that will do another 9-month program. And I think what I found most out of the Western Iowa Tech program was, because it was over a 2-year period of time, it allowed for the things that you began your first year. You were able to go potentially intern somewhere over the summertime, in the off time, and then come back and use that to funnel your second year's worth of learning and growth. And I found that invaluable personally. There are some folks that'll say, well, you can just go out into the field and do that too. And I think what I wanted to have is a little more internal support. And the program itself, to me, the 2-year program, was that support that I needed and wanted. Because by the time we started in the trade as a technician, there's still plenty that you're going to need to learn. A lot of it is just like I had mentioned before, we're generalists, so anything at any day could come across the bench. Um, just being prepared to do whatever is needed. And sometimes you're in a time crunch. Someone needs it for a concert. And there's no way to really simulate that. You can try doing bench tests in the classroom, and that's fine. But until you're really on the bench, then that's where the rubber meets the road there. And I think the extra year really made a big difference for me. Okay. So, well, I finished up the program in 2012. And so I've been a technician for 13 years. And now I've been here at Herter Music Center. Gosh, it's going on 8 years. Yeah, 8 years now. Started here in December of 2016. So yeah, quite a few years now. It's been nice to be back home. Wherever we were, whether it was in Green Bay or whether it was in Metro Detroit, there are people who we knew. But here, it's it's like the people that you know almost as family. The people that you've grown up with. Some of them who were colleagues when we were in school, and now they're you know our clients and people who we serve, and it's good. I think that builds a lot of rapport. While I was at Saginaw Valley, I was working at the Herter store in Saginaw, on Tittabawassee there, and so that was an invaluable experience too, just to be able to interact and see the other side of music service. And while I was there, the person who was doing a lot of the store string repairs at the time, Tim, he was having some health issues, and so we got to know each other pretty well. And so I just offered to him, I'm like, Tim, I don't know if you need any help, but I'd be glad to come over and just work with you and do some of that. And so I did. I did some orchestral string repairs at the time around 2007. And what I found was that for me, my skills as a play tester, like I couldn't play test orchestral strings like I could with woodwinds. I wanted to get more training, but I think I wanted to get training working with woodwind and brass instruments. So I asked Harold Friedeberg, who was the person who started the shop here at Herter's. I said, Harold, well, how did you go about to learn how to do this? And he's like, oh, well, I went to Western Iowa Tech. You should go do that too. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, cool. So, Melissa had finished, she graduated, and we were looking at, where are some places that she could find a teaching job. And we found that Iowa was one of those places. So we moved out to Burlington, Iowa, which is on the other side of the state, and she started to work there. I worked for a couple of years, and I worked at the high school. And then she ended up finding a job on the other side of the state. And I remember the phone call one day. It was May. She said, "What would you think about going to repair school next year?" And I said, "Oh wow, really?" And she said, "Yeah, I have an interview at Alta Aurelia, which is the district that she worked for a couple of years." So that's how we kind of got started. We put a couple of years in. She got some experience teaching junior high. She was teaching 6/8 band, and then we moved out to Sioux City area. We of all places, we lived in Holstein, Iowa, named after a cow. And she commuted one way, and I commuted the other way to Sioux City, and did that for a couple of years. And then then got some experience under my belt working for a couple of different music stores in Green Bay, in Metro Detroit, and then came to time that Harold Friedeberg was considering retiring, and so through some people, I just kind of called him up, and I was like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I would be interested in in interviewing, and sure enough, that's the way things work out, I guess. how quick it'll go, but I got them in under budget, so that's good.